At the place where Jesus was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb, in which no one had ever been laid. Because it was the Jewish day of preparation, and since the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there.
He's alive! He's alive! He's risen! He's alive! He's alive! He's risen! Hi, I'm Mary. Have you heard about Jesus? Do you know Jesus? Did you hear the story? I knew him. I know him. I still remember the first time he said my name. He healed me. He healed me inside and out. There was a lot that I had done wrong. And Jesus, when I met him, he said my name. He said, Mary. And it was like he had always known me. He looked at me like he was looking at my heart. Like he knew me. And he loved me. And I loved him. How could I not? I followed him and I watched him and I listened to him teach and I saw the things that he did, amazing things, miraculous things. He healed the sick. He healed the blind. He made cripples walk. He made deaf men hear. He drove out demons. It was amazing. And yet, with all of that and all of that power, he still loved me. He loved everyone. And you knew it. You knew it. And there was nothing that would make you not want to listen to him or to follow him or to hear him. It was amazing. I mean, everyone was amazed, except for the Jews. They didn't like Jesus so much. In fact, I think they were threatened because he was powerful and he didn't always do things the way that the Jewish leaders wanted them done or the way that the people in the temples and the churches wanted them done. Sometimes Jesus had his own ways. He had better ways. I knew he had to be the Messiah, the one that we'd been waiting for. He was amazing and he could do anything. Of course, this was the man. This was the one that God had promised, the one that was sent to save us all. How could he not be? And not everybody thought that, and not everybody saw that. And in fact, those Jewish leaders, they wanted to arrest him. They wanted to get him in trouble. They wanted to get rid of him because they didn't want that power. And Jesus could have escaped that. In fact, he did a lot of times. He got right out of their hands. They didn't even know what was going on. I knew he could always escape, and he could probably always defeat them and just blow them away and do whatever God would have him to do, because it was Jesus. It was the Son of God. But then one day he didn't escape. Then one night, the Jews did arrest him, and they beat him. They beat him and they flogged him, and he didn't escape. He didn't run away. He didn't disappear. He didn't even fight back. He just let it happen. Surely he could have fought back. Surely he was waiting for a better moment. Well, they brought Jesus to the trial, and they put him on trial, and people said some strange things about him, and he still didn't fight back. And then they sentenced him to be crucified. That's what criminals are supposed to get. Normal, regular people don't go on crosses. He still didn't fight back, but I knew that he would. I knew that eventually he would just wait for the right grand moment, and he could blast them all away. Well, they brought Jesus to this hill, and they put him on the cross. And they put a sign above the cross that said, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. He was the king. But why was the king being executed? Why was he hanging on a cross? I was there. saw him. And I kept waiting. I knew he was gonna come down from there. He could fight back. He had the power. He had brought people back to life. He could come off of a cross, right? I waited. And he didn't come down from the cross. He just was there. And he was hurting. And his mom was right next to me. And so was John, the disciple that Jesus loved. And Jesus looked at John and asked him to take care of his mother. And he didn't come down from the cross. And there were 2 other criminals up there with him. Criminals. Jesus wasn't a criminal. He'd come to rescue us. He'd come to save us. He wasn't going to die. And then he did. And he was still there. And he was dead. And all of the hope and all of the joy and all of the love was dead. How could he let that happen? Why could he let that happen? Why was he dead? They took his body down and they put it in a tomb. And they sealed the tomb, and then it was the Sabbath. We couldn't work on the Sabbath, so we waited. And we didn't have any more hope. What were we going to do now? Well, the next day after the Sabbath, the first day of the week, I went to the tomb. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't actually know how I was going to get into the tomb because there was a big stone in front of it, and I knew it was too heavy to roll away or to lift or to move aside, but I just wanted to be there. I wanted to do what I could for Jesus. I took some spices. I was going to help put them on his body to help with the purification rites we had to do, and I still didn't know exactly how I was going to get the stone away, but when I got to the tomb, the stone was gone, and I didn't see anything inside, which was pretty scary because Jesus' body was definitely in there, and I didn't know where it went. So I ran, and I found Peter and John, and I said, "They took Jesus! They took him away, and I don't know what they did with him." Well, Peter and John, they ran out to the tomb, and John was a little bit faster, so he got there first. And then Peter arrived, and they looked in the tomb, and they saw all the cloth, all the linen that they had wrapped Jesus up in, and the cloth was there, and there was no body. And they looked, and they were amazed. And then they left, but I still didn't know what to think. First, they kill him, and then they take away his body, so I can't even take care of his body. Nothing is left. Nothing is there. I couldn't stop crying. And then I looked into the tomb, and I saw these bright angels there. I said, "What are you looking for him? What are you looking for him in here for? He's not here." I didn't understand. I just couldn't stop crying. The whole weekend long, I couldn't stop crying. So I turned away. The disciples had gone back to their home, so I figured I'd do the same thing. And then I stood outside the tomb, still wondering what had happened. Where did he go? Who would take him? Why? And there was a man that was there out of the tomb who said, "Why are you crying?" I told him, "Well, they've taken my Lord. I don't know where he is. Do you know where he is? Can you at least tell me where he is so I can take care of him?" And then this man, I thought he was the gardener, because who else would be there? It was a garden. It was a tomb. Why else would he be there? And then he looked at me and he said, "Mary." And when he said my name, I knew. This was no gardener. This was Jesus. He wasn't in the tomb because he was alive. wasn't dead anymore. Because he was alive. He was alive. It wasn't the end of God's promises. It was the fulfillment of God's promises. It was true. It was real. He was the Messiah. He did come to save us. He died so that we can live. And he didn't stay dead. He rose. He rose. I should have known. I should have known all along. He's alive. He's alive. I couldn't stop clinging to him. But he said, hey, don't cling to me now. And he said, go tell the others. And that's what I'm telling you. And I want you to tell other people too. He's alive. He's alive not just once, not just then, but now. He's still in our lives, and he wants to be in our lives. And he came for us. He died for us. And he rose so that we can live with him. He is risen. That's the good news. Pass on that good news. I'm going to go tell some more people. I hope you do too. He is risen. Hallelujah.